Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Episode 65 of the Nooner. I see my good buddy Marco Bonini. So, Marco, how many days has it been, brother? My guy Marco, he's kicking a habit before the habit leads to him kicking the bucket. What day you on, my man? How you holding up? Have you killed anyone yet? Jose Garza showed up. Karina, thank you for being here. Welcome, you guys. This is episode 65 of the Nooner. Hey, I've been a little AWOL. Wanted to check in with you guys. I was been working with clients. Last week I was out SoCal working with a martial arts studio down there. That was a really cool experience. Hey, Marco is trying to stop smoking without killing anyone, and apparently Minneapolis is safe so far. Good for you, buddy. I'm really proud of you for doing that, by the way. I'll talk about that a little deeper in a second. But yeah, last week I got to work with a really good group, martial arts studio down in Long Beach, Krav Maga 3. But yeah, last week I got to work with a really good group, martial arts studio down in Long Beach, Krav Maga 360. If you are in the Long Beach, Los Angeles West Side area and want to learn some techniques and ways to make sure that you always go home safe while getting in the best shape of your life, that might be a good place to check out. Krav Maga 360, they're out of Long Beach, Tustin, and West Side Los Angeles. Also really good kettlebell guru buddy of mine, Mark Chang, teaches kettlebell training out of the West Side location, I believe. But definitely worth looking into these guys, especially if you're in Southern California. And then the last couple days I've been in Illinois working with a couple auto dealers out there. Very, very good group of guys. If you're in Mendota, Illinois, and you need yourself a Chevy or a Buick, reach out to my buddy Nick Organ. He's out there, can totally help you out. If he doesn't have it, he can get it. I watched them go to great lengths while I was there, find a Buick LaCrosse for one of their clients, and they bent over backwards to do it, and they got it. And very much into service, small town store, and so you get that small town experience. So if you're tuning in from Chicago, would it be worth driving 90 minutes to buy a Chevy? Yes, it would. Not only are they going to take care of you on the money, but they're going to make sure it's the best experience you ever had out there. Real personal touch. I was also up at the, hey, Nick Organ, speak of the devil. I think Nick Organ just showed up. I was just bragging about you guys. Also got a chance to pop into the Lou Bach Road Auto Mall, see my buddy Patrick up there. So that would be another good place to go, especially if you're looking for imports. They've got GM, they've got BMW, as well as VW, and they got a really good selection of pre-owned. They're up in Rockport. So that's where I was, and what I learned a couple different things about that trip. Is that ultimately, no matter where you are, no matter what size of store you're at, the opportunity for growth, performance, and production will always be there. One of the stores that I was at was a really big location, sort of an auto mall, large campus, a lot of customers, and lots of opportunity. So as a salesperson in a group like that, how would you stand out and separate yourself from the competition? But at the same time, when you look at some of the smaller stores, like when I was at Shimmer, they don't have a large sales force. They don't have a huge rush influx of clients coming in. So what do? How do you stand out from the competition and deliver that world-class experience and make sure that everybody knows? That was a big theme of discussion when I was over there, is obscurity. You got to do everything you can to get out of obscurity in your customer base. So if you're at a large store, you got to make sure that you're out of obscurity in a large store, and if you're in a smaller store, obscurity is your problem either way. So that was one of the big things I learned and was really able to bring home. Let me introduce myself to those of you that are just tuning into the Nooner. If this is your first time, the Nooner is about me popping in here every single weekday, Monday through Friday, if I'm not working with a client, and I'm going to drop a little bit of a noontime nugget about either sales or business or life, or a good combination of the three. A lot of times those three things go together. So a couple things about me, why I'm qualified to even have those discussions with you is, number one, I'm a sales and marketing manager with Grant Cardone. I've been working for Grant since March of 2011. Started following Grant in 2003. Grant's material took me from barely surviving in sales to thriving in it. And Grant was able to help me do that in a very short period of time. So in 2011, when I got an opportunity to give to other people some of the things that I did not have right out of the chute, I'm like, I'm all in. Okay, so we help people and we change lives. And if you've never heard of Cardone Training Technologies, what we do is we work with businesses of all shapes and sizes to increase their production. 15, 30% is the norm, simply by helping them find and then handle missed opportunities. So if you think about your organization, whether you're an organization of 1, 10, 100, 100,000, wherever you've got missed opportunity, we can help you plug the leak. And if you want to get more on that, you can reach out to me, david@grantcardone.com. That's my email address. Or 310-777-0352. That's my direct number, rings right at my desk. The other thing about me, which my good buddy Marco will attest to, is I'm the author of a book called How to Stop Smoking Without Killing Anyone. You can get more information about that at stopdon'tquit.com. I was hooked on the smoky treats for, about 15 years. Couldn't quit. Could not quit to save my life. Tried on multiple occasions, couldn't figure it out. But I found a way to stop. And I found a way to make stopping a habit. Interesting, right? So when I was done, I said, hey, you know what? This worked for me. This got me to back into the non-smoking section. I'm going to share what I learned from that experience with other people so I can help other people as well. Third thing about me is I'm a founder of a hashtag called Rich Man's Gym. Now this hashtag is about to become a book. This is something I'm working on. It's about home-based strength and conditioning for body, mind, and spirit. And if you search that hashtag, you may find some cool stuff on Instagram, Twitter, hub pages. There's even a website that's in development. So if you stumble on the website, let me just apologize now because that work in progress. All right, so what are we talking about today? All right, so if you saw the topic today on the Nooner, it's, hey, what do you know about sales? And the reason we're going to have this discussion is Grant's got an article up on Huffington Post. He put it up there a couple weeks ago. And I talked a little bit about it last week or last time I was on here. But the title of that post, though, is Everyone Needs to Know These Elements of Selling. And in it are 4 key elements that for a lot of people may come as actually a pretty solid wake-up call. For a lot of people, other people, it may just be a no-brainer. But for some, it may be a shock to the system, depending on what you do for a living. You may not even realize that you're in sales when you are. And when Grant opens the article, he's got this really interesting question. He says, have you ever thought about how sales has helped you to accomplish, I'm going to move this, to accomplish your goal? So if you think about like some of the goals that you have, you know, where has selling actually come into that space for you accomplishing a goal? And I would say that if you consider any goal you've ever had, anything you've ever tried to accomplish, anything you've ever shot for in your life, at some point you had to sell to make that. Selling is really no different than any other skill. It's something that you learn. It's something that you can duplicate. It's something that you have to understand. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the 4 different points that Grant gave you. I'm going to talk about some of the highlights of each point, maybe talk a little bit about how it applied to me, and then wrap this sucker up. So the first element that Grant says is that selling is a prerequisite for life. And if you've read this book, Sell or Be Sold, this is how we start that book. So if you think about it, whatever you do, wherever you fall, at some point you are going to have to sell in order to get what you want. Grant says in the article, he says, your ability to do well in life depends on your ability to sell others on the things in which you believe. So I'll just read that again. Your ability to do well in life depends on your ability to sell others on the things in which you believe. Now, Does that sound like that dude in the polyester suit and the white shoes? No, right? So think about how selling applies to you in your own life. I know I got salespeople on here now. Karina, let's talk about you for a second. You help other entrepreneurs meet their goals, right? You're a representative at Primerica Financial Services, so you're actively selling every single day, but your business card probably doesn't say salesperson, right? So I've got, my good buddy Jose Garza, right? He works for Avocare. So while his business card doesn't say sales professional, he's selling people on getting healthy every single day, right? He's selling health. He's selling wellness. He's selling fitness. Right? So that's the first piece of this puzzle, is to just understand that no matter what you do, you are always going to find yourself in a position where you're going to have to sell, especially when it comes to getting things that you want. This could apply to, you guys throw in some of your own. I'll give you a couple tips as to what this could apply to, but let's say you want to get a mortgage. Who do you got to sell? You got to sell the bank. You got to sell the guy that's going to sign off on your loan, right? Let's say you want to get a good price on a car. You're selling them as much as they're selling you, right? For those of you that aren't in automotive, right? I'll bet Nick can attest to this. Are you more likely to give a deal to somebody who's really cool and treats you nice and with respect versus some guy that's a jerk? Right? So Marco knows this. Marco's been in a lot of different kind of selling. So I'm sure Jose can attest to that as well. What else do you sell? You sell your wife on the movie we're going to watch tonight? Action movie, romantic love story. Yeah, Karina says that's why Grant wrote Sell or Be Sold. Totally. Okay, we're always selling. You want to get a refund on a product, right? You want to get your cable bill lowered? I did that recently. That was really cool. So yeah, everything that you want in life is on the other side of your ability to sell. Nick says respect always. Respect will always. So you treat a car dealer with respect and not like a car dealer, he'll hook you up. So the second thing is commission. Now I did a whole nooner on this where we defined it and we looked at it. So if you haven't seen that one, hit YouTube, go to Cardone Solutions, playlist the nooner, and there's a whole thing on commission. But here's the realities. Every time you get your way in life, hey, Laura showed up, good to have you here. Every time you get your way in life, that's a commission. Commission is not just about monetary. Okay? So check out that episode again on the nooner, but just think with this for a second. Everything that happens to you that's good is a commission. Okay? You love your wife, you take good care of her, and you have a great marriage. The great marriage is a commission. You exercise your body, you train, you work out, you push yourself, okay? You get healthier, you get strong in body, mind, and spirit. That is a commission. Anything that you do that has greatness attached to it, the reward is a commission, okay? If you take a look at the UFC, right? I'm a huge mixed martial arts fan. I love MMA, okay? If you look at that, yeah, these guys get paid to fight, right? So, but the commission, though, I think is the victory. Or even if they don't win, but it's a really good match, like these two guys are just going at it, going nuts, right? The crowd's freaking out. That might be more valuable than a belt or a purse. Or fight of the night. The roar of the crowd, right? All the tweets that you get later. That's a commission, right? That feels good. So everything that you do in life is ultimately comes back to there's a commission to be paid when you get your way. Okay, so the third thing though, and this I think is important because we tend to the third thing here, let me tell you what the third thing is. The third thing is to beware of false data. And there's a lot of false data out there, not just about sales, but everything, right? So if you think about, the subject of selling, there's all kinds of weird myths. What did I talk about a minute ago? The guy in the polyester suit with the white shoes. That guy does not exist anymore. And the ones that do, it's a dying breed. You're not going to see those guys in business much longer. They can't afford it, right? The internet has had such a huge impact on how customers shop and buy, not just for cars or tangible products, but I mean anything, right? They spend more time online. Now they spend time online than they go in so that they can touch and feel, but they still don't buy. They leave and then go buy it on the internet. That's weird, right? Flat screen TV, you go on the internet, you go to Best Buy, you find 2 or 3 that you like, you narrow it down to a couple, you go in, you look at each one of them, and you sneak out of there so you don't have to deal with a salesman, and then order it online. You may not even order it at the store you tested it at. You may go hit it on Amazon because it's cheaper. Okay? I'm kind of going through this process right now on a MacBook. I've done some research online, I've gone into the store. I'll probably order it on Best Buy on Black Friday. I don't know. But it's an interesting dichotomy about how people shop and buy. It's very different, right? So there's a lot of false data out there about selling and sales that it's accepted, it's passed on as truth, but it may not be accurate, right? So what can you guys think of right now? Let me show a couple things from you guys. Like Laura, what is some false data about selling that you've heard and then from your experience have found out it to not be true? Marco, what do you think, man? I know you've probably heard all kinds of false data. And Karina, I mean, even if you're doing Primerica, I mean, what kind of weird stuff do you hear, right? There's a lot of false data out there about selling and salespeople that, we're all a bunch of liars and crooks and criminals and we're only in it for ourselves. Anyway, I'm doing it. I think in Grant interviewing a guy named Bob Duggan, who's a billionaire, talks about, hey, I'll make a difference for the better. If you put everything that you do, Wayne Dyer said it, Dan Millman said it, your number one purpose in life is to be of service. And even if you don't know what your purpose is, as long as you are doing something that is service orientated or in the service of others, you're fulfilling your purpose. So can you make a difference for the better? Okay, well, that's one of the reasons I'm in sales. I get to make a difference for the better. So here, Grant says when he's talking about false data, he says, people tend to form opinions and give advice and pass on myths when they don't actually have any personal experience. Nick says we always make big commissions. That's some false data. Right? That is some false data right there. Karina says, sales is not what we do to you, it's what we do for you. Ooh. That's a good one. I like that. Let me say it. Sales is not what we do to you, it's what we do for you. Oh, man. I love that. I might even just quote that. Can I quote that? I'll give you credit for it, but can I quote that? Maybe put it up. That's a really good quote. Sales is not what we do to you, it's what we do for you. So that's fantastic, right? So if I look at Grant's quote from the article, he says, people tend to form opinions and give advice and pass on myths when they don't actually have any personal experience. You know any armchair quarterbacks out there? So, and that's why I was bringing up MMA earlier, because last weekend Ronda Rousey fought. She lost her title to Holly Holm. Hey man, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and there was a lack of preparation going into that fight for her. I'm still her biggest fan though, but it seemed like there was a lack of preparation going into that thing. But what's funny about it is that, from the moment she got KO'd, what happened? Every MMA expert on the planet starts chiming in about what didn't work, what she did wrong. Like, the guy never even stepped foot in a stadium, more or less, an octagon. And he's sitting there thinking he knows everything. Hey, Lydia, thanks for being here. So, much of the data that gets passed along has never been fully inspected. It's never been proven. It's just some guy's opinion based on his experience or lack thereof. So beware of false data. That's the message. Okay. And then the fourth thing is that selling critical to survival. In the article, Grant says, the fact that it isn't taught in school, that it isn't required or even offered, only further indicates the immense value of those who do learn this skill. So, while I was in Mendota, Nick shared with me that he's got salespeople there that make as much as doctors in that area. Okay, so what does that tell you? How long do you go to med school? Forever, right? 8 years. Learn how to be a doctor. Okay? Noble profession. I could never do it. You spend 8 years learning how to do that craft. And you make a certain level of income. Now imagine if you invest 8 years in perfecting the art and science and the craft of selling. 8 hard years at the same level of intensity as a doctor. What would that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means, okay? You take a look at Grant Cardone, who did that. Okay, if there's a PhD in selling, he's got it. All right? What's his net worth? Look that up. We have a lot of doctors on our program for that reason. They did all this stuff in med school, and now they're trying to open a private practice, and so that they can escape insurance. They got to learn to sell. I didn't teach that. I'll replace your aortic valve, but I don't know how to sell. So imagine taking that and plugging that into 8 years of diligent training. Professional wages for professional salespeople, Nick says. Damn right. Okay? So one of the things that I learned very early on and that was very important to me and valuable was Grant says, learn to sell and you can go anywhere. And I thought, hey, what kind of skills do you need to where no matter where you land, you can survive? Selling skills? Service. So if you can plug yourself into a service industry and sell, you can make a living anywhere, and you can make a good living anywhere. So he says in the article, he says, a person's ability to persuade another is the only thing that will ultimately ensure a position in the marketplace. Any marketplace. This is entrepreneur, solopreneur, business, large company. All right. What did you guys hear today that was new? Or what did you hear that reinforced something that you sort of knew or you had a pretty good sense of, but now you've got even more clarity on it? So, if you like what you hear, this book breaks them all down. We actually get into this in the very first chapter, and then Grant spends the rest of the book going deeper into it. Let me move this over here. So guess what? This book, if you don't have it, is on sale right now at 40% off in the Grant Cardone store. If you're catching the rerun of this on YouTube, there's a link right down below here. If you click it, it'll take you right over there. And if you use coupon code Mr. Black, you'll get 40% off. How many copies do you have? How many clients do you have? How many salespeople do you have? Who doesn't need to read this book? Everybody needs to read this book. Okay? So if you've got clients, if you've got customers, if you've got employees that haven't read this book, what a service would it be to give it to them for Christmas? Think about that. All right? The other news I'm going to drop is I'm doing a whole new format of the Nooner starting on Monday. So I'm excited to do that with you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the Nooner today. We will see you Monday, 12 o'clock noon Pacific Standard Time. New format, maybe even some new music. I don't know. But if I can help you in any way, feel free to give me a call. 310-777-0352. You can email me, david@grantcardone.com. This has been episode 65 of the Nooner. Thank you, Nick, for tuning in. Appreciate you being here and hanging out. We will see you guys Monday. Have a great holiday weekend. And don't forget, Sell or Be Sold is 40% off now. Coupon code Mr. Black inside the Cardone store. See you Monday.